This machine will have eyes, ears, and a voice.
This is PVP Television News. We are now going back to Welshpool. Proposer of a motion, County Councillor D.R. Jones, has just finished his presentation. County Councillor R.G.Brown is about to speak.
Councillor Brown. Thank you, Chair. Members, Councillor David Jones and myself first tabled the motion on the 19th of May. On the 24th of May, 2,000 people protested on the steps of the Senate. The Welsh Government's response? We have no plans to review TAN8. So much for democracy, I thought. The views from the ivory towers in Cardiff really do not extend beyond the Brecon Beacons. The public pressure continued, and I do pay tribute to all those who have worked tirelessly to keep the pressure on and to highlight the possible desecration of Mid Wales and Montgomeryshire. The flaws in TAN8 have been outlined by David, and others will no doubt speak about it. So I do not believe that I will concentrate on those areas. I do not believe I'm being overdramatic if I say that the results of TAN8 as written, interpreted and implemented would have a greater impact on the landscape of this area than the mining in the South Wales valleys and the quarrying in the north. And no, I do not believe that the industrialisation of those areas provides any justification for us to go down that same route. On the 17th of June, Carwyn Jones issued a statement. He's done a U-turn and is now travelling in the same direction as us was the initial response. But members, if anything, the matter has become even more confused and the need for a thorough review of TAN8 even more urgent as a result of that statement. I'm not going to go into technical detail, but let's just look at some of the points Carwyn Jones made. To quote, the indicative capacities set out in TAN8 in 2005 reflected a considered view of the potential impact of grid and transportation connections. Really? The need for a 19-acre substation wasn't mentioned, 150-foot high pylons wasn't mentioned, and the Assembly's own highways people weren't even consulted when they drafted TAN8, not to mention the fact that Shropshire was kept totally in the dark. Quote, the level of development is unacceptable in view of its wider impact on the local area. TAN8 should be regarded as upper limits. Great. A clear steer which our planners can follow instead of working under the Damocles sword of the Welsh Government calling in any application if there is an indication that it was to be refused. Here we have clear guidance, don't we? Upper limits are upper limits. Once a particularly strategic search area reaches its megawatt capacity, end of. You've heard David's extracts from TAN8. All does not appear to be quite so straightforward, does it? Oh yes. And there's still the matter of the IPC in Whitehall, having the decision-making responsibility for power lines and applications above 50. So it doesn't matter what we say, they could do as they wish. I firmly believe that this matter is far more important than party or group politics, and I have no intention of going down that route. But I do feel that given Carwyn Jones's remarks, it is imperative that we start to put pressure on the UK government. An agreed additional wording to the motion to that effect will be introduced by the next speaker. I can also confirm that the Montgomeryshire MP, Glenn Davis, has confirmed he will back the council however he can, and in fact has already had a meeting with the leader, chief executive and officers on the day that Carwyn Jones made his statement. In addition to the debate which has already taken place in the House, he has secured a meeting with the Minister, Charles Henry, to discuss the issue further. Members, it is incumbent on us all to work together as one very loud, very passionate voice to keep the profile high and the pressure on. Next, Carwyn Jones also said, quote, we contend that the level of capacity within strategic search areas which is set out in 2005 would negate the need for the large obtrusive pylons which are causing such concern. Well, somebody now needs to tell the National Grid that, because they are still saying one more medium-sized wind farm would require the substation and the pylons. Who is right? What are people supposed to believe? We as a local authority need, and the people of Mid Wales deserve, clarification. We need definitive and reliable answers to these and many other questions. This can only be done by a thorough review of TAN8. And it is only right that whilst this review is being undertaken, we call for a moratorium on all applications. And to clarify, there will be a further agreed change to the wording of the motion where we will call on the Welsh and UK governments to call a moratorium. But just because the Welsh Assembly doesn't have the power to order a moratorium, it doesn't mean that the First Minister can't be asked to put action behind his words and join us in asking the UK government to agree to a moratorium, whilst a review is undertaken both in Wales and nationally. Without a moratorium, I believe it will be extremely difficult for our planners to know how to deal with applications, as at present we are being given different stories by different bodies. Members, I ask you to support this motion and help try to stop this ludicrous, inexcusable and completely out of proportion trashing of our countryside. I am optimistic that the motion will receive support, and if so, I would ask that this Council then takes the initiative to formally ask the Welsh Local Government Association to support our stance, to ask the other UK local government associations to support a call on the UK government to review its renewable energy policy, and that we write to all councils in the UK asking them to take similar decisions to ours.
Thank you, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I've finished seconding, and I hope members will take on board what I've said. And as a matter of housekeeping, can I just add that, and this is no way a political move, as this is a subject which has quite rightly created a great deal of public interest, I believe it must go down on public record how we vote on this matter, and I therefore give notice that at the end of this debate, I will be calling for a named vote.
Thank you, Councillor Bell.
We will return again to Welshpool in part 3, when we shall hear the views of some of the councillors present at the meeting.
This machine will have eyes, ears, and a voice.